for Speed Unbound Update 2. We need to talk. Now, the first proper update for Need for Speed Unbound has released. It's out there, and we've been experiencing it, well, for the past while now. There is some positives and negatives about the whole thing, but ultimately, it's a step in the right direction, and I was so glad to see one because of how Heat was treated. In case you don't know, Heat was treated the way it was. Not by choice of the studio, they basically were closed. So I wanted to go in, fresh mind, excited, interested to see when the next update will be arriving and give you my prediction as to when I think it will, and also speaking about what I need to see, what I want to see, and what I'm excited to see. So the first category of this I would like to name changes. Like that Tupac song. Now, it makes sense to dive into cops because that was the biggest change. Previously, we didn't have online cops. They added it in, and that was refreshing. It was great to see, and they've done a pretty good job of making it so they're not annoying and they don't come after you for no reason. However, it does make them a little bit useless. Consider they've made it now so that we can make 80 grand in one speed list, or even if you lose 40 grand, the cops quite frankly are pointless outside of the daily challenges. And so the first thing is to make the cops have a higher payout and do it like Heat, in where a 5 times Heat is a 5 times multiplier. Doing that gives you reason to actually go against the police. I want to go against them. It's Need for Speed. But there are a couple of other issues with the police as well. To start us off, I think it should take longer to go from Heat 1 to 5. I feel like Heat 1, 2, 3 is pretty darn quick, and Heat 4 and 5 are a bit long. However, I want them to be even longer because, hear me out, I think we need to improve and increase the difficulty of the police. Online, they seem even easier than they are on the single player, and quite honestly, just a bit useless. I actually did this live stream where I set an attempt at a world record against the police because they're so easy, and actually, the biggest issue was players hitting me and not the police themselves. Increase the difficulty of the police. Please, buff them big time. What I will say, though, is the heavies need to be reduced on how many there are because there's just no proper way to get rid of them. It's very difficult. And at the same time, improve their performance level based on the average pursuit in the session players level. That's how it should be. In Heat, they were super aggressive. They got nerfed twice, which is infuriating because it's some of the best cops in the series. This time, they've just started off on a pretty slow foot. Now, an obvious one, new cars. I could sit here and list all the cars I would want, but I'm going to ask you guys in the comments to list the cars that you would like to see. Here's a few of mine. I have a Heat car list, by the way, that I uploaded a long time ago. That still stands. I want to see all those cars. But I want to see things like the Evo 6. The R33 Skyline, the Nissan Stagia when modified looks very, very cool, and the new BRZ, since we can't have the GT86. GR86. Let's capture myself out with that one. New cars are super important to bring people initially back to the game, and the Maybach was pretty cool. Actually, I really liked it because it fit the theme, and actually it seems like a bit of a tank when you're actually going against the police. I don't know if it's true or not, but it feels like it's just heavy, bulky, and really good for taking people down. Next up, these are not changes, but more additions. Let's go with additions. Kinda. Okay, drift speed lists. Where are they? There's drift events in the single player. Yes, they're a little bit naff, but they nonetheless are drift events. Based on points, based on how long the drift is, based on a car being really slidey, muscle cars will dominate. I don't care. I want to see drift events added. It doesn't really matter. Or from a baseline, it needs to be there. I don't know why it's not. You can't have a drift handling and not have drift events. It just doesn't make sense. The activities are not enough. I don't do activities past unlocking the car or whatever from them. Put them in speed lists. I also want to see car type specific speed lists. This is a big one to me. They did it in Most Wanted 2012, and they've got a really growing car list. For example, we got the Maybach added. The Maybach is a specific type of car that a lot of people won't bother driving, but I think a really good way to get people to drive different types of car. For example, I will not drive SUVs unless you create a speed list that puts SUVs versus SUVs, trucks v trucks, supercars versus supercars. Limit it. This will definitely make me use more vehicles and more players use more vehicles, because that's something that a lot of games get wrong. They give us the best cars from the go, and then we don't go back to the crapper cars. Need for Speed helps with that, with the tiers. However, I do think the types also need to be leaned into. That's a pretty big one to me. And this is one that I've been cooking in my head for a while. I don't know why they don't do it. I thought it would be really obvious. Weekly speed list. Hear me out. This is a special speed list that you can partake in to get the maximum money, a bigger bonus money once. And you can keep replaying it like a normal speed list to try and beat your time. Think of it like the summit in the crew. It's going to give everyone the same car to do the event, so it's on a fair playing field. Beating it gives you a higher reward, but being in the top 10%, 20% gives you even more. Maybe even gives you the car if you're in the top 50%. Rewards that just go, yeah, this makes sense. It'll make people tune in and play the game weekly almost, if there is a car they're interested in. And finally in this section, which is one of the big wants for me, is team speed lists. I don't know why we only got competitive. I want more cooperative slash co-op competitive. Yeah, I want a combination of the two. It should always be about both. I prefer a cooperative experience if I've got teammates that at least gets me there a little bit. Anyway, back to why I said cars are not really the most important thing for me. This is a point that people definitely come back to and try and strangle me over because they do not agree. But let me explain a little bit. New gameplay is the most important aspect, in my opinion, of any update. It should take priority over literally everything else, and that's because it keeps people coming back. I didn't keep playing Driver San Francisco's multiplayer or Blur's multiplayer because of the car editions. In fact, I don't think he even got any car editions. I kept playing because the game modes were fun, different, and new and fresh, and I enjoyed it so much. Didn't even add any new ones. It was just different from the go. So that brings me to one of my biggest ideas that I really am demanding has to be in the game at some point in Need for Speed history. It's redoing the Takeover Events. Picture this, a global event that's in the free roam that happens maybe every hour. It lasts 20 to 30 minutes. It's team v team, so you get assigned a teammate, or you can play with people in your crew automatically. And what you'll need to do is go through the districts of the map. There are many cool districts, many different districts that have focuses on drifting or speed or whatever. Go through those objectives, those jumps, those drifts, those speed traps. And as you go through those, you are given team points for each specific district. Do you see where I'm going with this? This is basically like the carbon takeover. You'll have a map, and as you go through and take over these areas, that area will go your team color, that district. And as it does, you'll feel amazing. Even the mini-map becomes the color of your team. It's cooperative, it's competitive, and it makes use of stuff that's already there, but it freshens it up and makes it so much more exciting because you can still take each other down, which resets them to the garage, which makes it more difficult for them to get back to that location. Maybe you lose money in that district if someone's taking it, or you get money like Monopoly if someone's in your district temporarily. Again, not from the money they've earned in the game overall, but maybe from that exact game session. This is the type of stuff I want to see. Next up, going over more to the co-op competitive activities again, steal the VIP ride. 2 players, or maybe more, team up and drive in convoy to a certain location. Maybe one person's in the passenger seat of another car. That would be pretty cool. Drive to the destination, the passenger collects the car. All of a sudden, the whole session takes part or is notified that if they take this car down, they get a cash reward. They're all changed to cop cars maybe, and it'd be a cool way to give players the ability to be cops in a game mode for those that want it. And again, in a game mode, I want that. The driver has to get from A to B, the teammates have to protect them, and the others have to take them down before they get to the objective. Cash reward, car reward, cash reward for how many hits you get on the player, cash reward for how close you get to stay near the player the whole time. Whole slew of things you can do. And again, it's not creating, it's not adding anything new vehicle-wise. It's using what's already there and making better use of it. And as I said, I'm more of a cooperative person. This is a really simple one, but again, just should give you an idea of what we should see. Remember that GTA cash truck? So essentially, a truck spawned on the map, those money trucks where they have the big cases, and they're in their armored suits all ready to protect that money, which they wouldn't. They would just drop it and run, but you know, it's insured. So who cares? We're stealing from the insurance company. Let's do that. Everyone's notified, work together, take down the truck. As the truck gets more damage, the police come in more and more. The more damage you do to the truck, the more money that you receive. Take the truck down, everyone gets their money, jobs are good, and that sounds so much fun. It sounds super easy to do because the health system's already in the game. Just spawn an AI vehicle and it be reacting just like a police car, but it's trying to run away. It makes so much sense. So long term, I want to see custom lobbies. I want to see custom event creators, improved photo mode, vinyl sticker editor, tournaments, increased player count, increased payouts, increased player levels, so there's actually a reason to keep leveling up, and so much more. There's so much more that I definitely want to see, but hey, this is just the beginning, right? We're now at a level where realistically the game is, in my opinion, where it should have been at launch. The speedless money is pretty balanced. There's a new activity to check out. It's all kind of base level stuff. I want to see a heck of a lot more, and I'm sure you do too. And finally, the date prediction. There's no way, surely, that they can take just as long as they did last time. In case you don't know, from release to update, they took 3 months and 19 days to release the first proper update. There's no way. We did get a smaller update between that, so it kind of makes me hope that this one will be quicker. Also, the release of the game, they take a break. So I'm hoping instead of 3 months, it'll be more like two and a bit. Could the update be next month? I don't know. I really hope so. If you think I missed anything out in this video, please let me know down in the comments. Again, cars, you guys, I'm putting you in, you're in the driving seat for this one. Be sure to smash like, and I will see you in the next one. Check out this video, by the way. This is pretty good. Peace.